Hi all and welcome to Life Admin 365 and welcome to another full week's worth of Indian meal plan and meal prep. Then when the weekend comes, I'm so tired that I'm just sitting around the couch not doing anything. I am not ready to do any meal planning. I'm not ready to do any meal prepping. The only meal prep that I did in this week were soaked beans and sprout matki beans. I also soaked kabuli chana and pressure cooked them so that I have them ready. Other two things I did were chop onions, peel garlic and have dough ready for the week. That's all. I was just relying on what was in my freezer, and I did use a bunch of things that I got from store to help me get through this week's meal planning and meal prepping. So let's see what I have planned for lunches for this week. Most of my lunches are between 11:30 and 12:30 and I eat them in my school where I work as a substitute teacher. Typically, I bring salads to school for lunches. I make these salad the previous night and store in my refrigerator and simply grab them before heading out to school. I am so glad that I had lettuce and red peppers prepped the previous week. I ate the same salad 3 times this week, just changed almonds with walnuts or pistachios, cherries with blueberries or blackberries, and kept the dressing the same, which was a simple combination of oil, lemon juice, salt, and pepper. I finished up the last few ounces of smoked Gouda and Gruyere cheese, which I chopped into small cubes and added to my salad. So let's see what I have planned for this week. On Monday, I had lauki sabji or dudhi sabji, tur dal amti along with rice and roti on my meal plan. I started my preparations by soaking rice in water. While the rice was soaking for 20 to 25 minutes, I made the roti from previously prepped dough. Towards the end of roti preparation, I started boiling water for cooking rice. As soon as rotis were done, I added soaked drained rice. With rice and roti made, I turned my attention to making tadka dal and sabji. I had frozen cooked tur dal that I had thawed overnight. So all I had to do was prepare the tadka and add the cooked dal, adjust the seasoning and bring it to a rolling boil. For my lauki sabji, I wanted to use moong dal. I had soaked this moong dal overnight so that next day it wouldn't take more than a few minutes to cook. I took out the frozen prepped lauki about 5 to 7 minutes before preparing. After preparation of tadka, I cooked moong dal for good 4 to 5 minutes covered, and when it was about 50 to 60% cooked, I added the lauki, mixed everything together, adjusted the seasoning and cooked covered for good 8 to 10 minutes. It was ready in no time. Making lunch took a little over an hour and I was able to squeeze in 30 minutes of morning walk before heading out to work. Challenge. For dinner, I decided to finish up the tadka dal that I had made for lunch. To the leftover dal, I added jawar flour or sorghum flour, chopped beet greens, sesame seeds, green chilies, turmeric, and salt. Kneaded it to form a soft dough. Portioned out the dough into 4 equal pieces and pressed it on a plastic bag to make what we call thalipeet. Cooked each of these thalipeet on hot griddle with oil and served it hot with yogurt and ketchup. For Tuesday, I had lobia or chawli usal, rice and roti on my meal plan. To make usal, I thawed out previously cooked and frozen lobia or chawli or black eyed peas. Preparation for usal are pretty much standard. You make masala by sauteing curry leaves, onions, tomatoes, green and red chilies, turmeric and garlic in hot oil. Once everything is cooked, you add cooked beans or peas. Here I have used black eyed peas, and then I added homemade Maharashtrian goda masala, crushed gur and salt. Once everything came to a rolling boil, I garnished it with chopped cilantro. Unfortunately, there was no sabzi to go along with rice and roti. However, I did make 4 extra rotis for the night's dinner. For dinner, my plan was to make carrot, tomato, cucumber, koshimber in Maharashtrian style to go along with the roti and morning's usal. But unfortunately, there was no leftover usal. However, there was leftover rice and roti from the morning. So I changed my plans and made masala roti rice, which we call fodnichi poli in Marathi. All I did was crushed the rotis, sauteed onions in hot oil, and at the last minute decided to add lauki sabji from yesterday. That way I could finish off the lauki sabji as well. Then I added crushed roti, leftover rice, adjusted seasoning, garnished it with chopped cilantro and roasted peanuts and served it with a side of yogurt. For Wednesday, I had matki usal rice and roti on my meal plan. And unfortunately, once again, I did not have any prepped sabzi to go along with this meal plan. Made matki usal in a similar fashion like I made sauri usal yesterday. This Wednesday, I did not do any meal prepping as there weren't any veggies except broccoli. Dinner was once again made from morning leftover, which was rice. I made steamed rice rava savory cakes by grinding leftover rice with yogurt, besan, green chilies, semolina or rava. After letting it rest for about 30 minutes, I added baking soda and transferred it to a steamed container and steamed it for good 20 minutes. After this, I cut it into rounds and kept them for toasting in the oven for 10 to 15 minutes. Then I prepared a seasoning of mustard, cumin seeds, green chilies, and once those cakes were out from the toaster, I garnished them with the hot seasoning. Boys loved them and were happy that for the past few days they were eating something different for dinner. For Thursdays, I typically have sabudana khichdi for lunch and moong dal khichdi with curry and papad for dinner. For Friday, I made cheesy omelette for breakfast. While kids ate it with a side of toast for their breakfast, I ate my portion of cheesy omelette along with sauteed broccoli for lunch. I had idli chutney sambar on my meal plan for boys for their lunch. Once again, I relied on previously cooked and frozen tur dal. To make idli, I used store-bought idli batter. Used my idli steamer and my favorite Vijay brand dosa batter to make these idlis. While the water was heating up in the steamer, I oiled the idli trays. Then I placed one tray in the steamer, ladled the slots with idli batter, and then placed the second tray over the first tray. Repeated the process until all 4 trays were filled with the batter. Covered the steamer with lid and steamed for 12 minutes on medium-high heat. While idlis were steaming, I quickly prepared coconut chutney. This chutney came out to perfection. It was well ground and needed no adjustment for taste. Once the steaming was done, I took out the trays and my oldest son scooped out the pillowy rounds using butter knife. I was running low on time and barely had 15 minutes to get ready for work. Anyways, dinner was no fuss and very simple. Penne pasta with creamy red sauce and steamed broccoli on the side. I had butter onion green chili uttapam on my meal plan for Saturday. I love using electrical griddle for making uttapam or dosas. Its non-stick surface makes spreading the batter very easy, and once cooked, the sides release easily, making flipping a worry-free task. Plus, I can make 2 at a time, so I can crank these out quickly. Once the batter was ladled and spread, I added finely chopped green chili cilantro mixture on each side, and after a few minutes of cooking, I dotted each one with butter. Once the bottom side was cooked, I flipped over and smeared butter on the top side. Once the underside was cooked as well, I flipped it to make the bottom a bit crispy. Took it off the griddle and served it along with leftover sambar and green chutney from Friday. While Milind ate uttapam, boys ate garlic butter dosa. Once the batter was spread on hot griddle, I sprinkled garlic powder and red chili powder over it. And when the top side seemed to have set, I smeared butter all over it, which spread the garlic powder and the red chili powder all over the dosa. My older son didn't want the seasoning because he wanted to enjoy the dosa with the chutney and not have garlic or the red chili interfere with the taste. Saturday night dinner was once again very simple. Made Ching's hot garlic noodles and cooked store-bought vegetable dumplings to go along with it that I served with a side of soy sauce. Sunday brunch was chole puri. Milind is not a fan of chole, but boys love it. So it's not very often that I make them, but once in a while I do. Once the oil was heated, I added cumin seeds, finely chopped green chilies and cilantro stems, followed by onions. Once the onions were translucent, I added a heaping teaspoon of crushed garlic, generous squeeze of tomato paste, turmeric powder and 2 teaspoons of coriander powder. Once masala was ready, I added cooked chickpeas, lots of water and brought everything to a boil. Once it was nearing boiling, I added 2 heaping teaspoons of chole masala and then brought the whole thing to a rolling boil, followed by a generous amount of chopped cilantro garnish. Puris also got done pretty quickly as I had previously prepped dough. The end product was delicious meal of chole and puri. Milind ate his brunch and was off to his round of golf. Kids ate the same meal for lunch. All I had to do was fry out the puris when they were ready to eat their lunch. While kids enjoyed eating chole puri, they were more excited about eating aloo chole chaat that I had planned for evening. To the crushed potatoes, I add finely chopped green chilies, cilantro, salt, turmeric, red chili chili powder and mixed everything well to form patty. Cook these patties on hot griddle until both sides were crisp. Place 2 of these patties on a bed of chole, topped it with onion, sweet yogurt, tamarind date chutney, and lastly with fine save. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. This was a realistic view of my meal plan for this week. This week I had no desire to meal prep extensively, so I just took it one day at a time. Yes, I did prep a few items earlier in the week, which definitely helped me come up with my meals throughout this week, but they were not as extensive as I would typically do on my meal prep days. Just take it one day at a time and do what works best for you. Thank you so much for sticking around till the end. And if you've liked this video, do give it a big thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. Your likes help my channel grow and reach out to more audience. With that said, thank you so much. I'll see you guys later.